Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball. Schwarber goes to the Nationals and Liam Hendriks goes to the south side of Chicago. Let's do it! Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball. We thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Jimmy. Sitting next to me is Jake. In California is Trevor. And behind the desk is Bug Dude, the producer. He's wearing a purple I Love Baseball shirt. Jake is wearing a black Jomboy Media shirt. Trev is wearing a white Women Belong in Sports shirt. And I am wearing a gray Baseball is Fun hoodie. Trev's is a hoodie as well. My bad. Jake, how are you?
James, great updates to start. Trevor, big baby David Mendelson on the ones and twos, and we are about to get funky. Baseball from cold in the streets to hot in the streets right quick. Liam Hendriks hits the market, and we'll talk about the importance of that coming up. I'm doing well, wearing my all-black sleek outfit. I don't know if you've noticed. I've been mixing this in.
You like that?
No, but...
Trev, you should have seen Jake. You should have
Fashion.
seen Jake yesterday.
Fashion.
Slim.
My shoulders looked really dainty yesterday. Really dainty. Trevor, how are you?
Was that some new Instagram filter you put on, or is that real life?
How about you crushing that? Was that a D-Rob hanger you just posted on Twitter? You put that to...
Well, sometimes I had to put Dallas in his place on Twitter, so I think that was a Eovaldi hanger. Yankees, obviously. Let me just ask you guys, do you want the good news or the bad news?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just a fan of news in
What
general.
do you think Sugano's going to do back? Return? No.
I don't care because I only pay attention to one league.
Major League.
I'm a baseball snob. But bad news is I have an elusive gopher. I cannot catch
Oh, my
this
God.
guy. He's tearing up my grass, and I can't catch him. So that's the bad news. The good news, it's my 8-year anniversary today with Olivia the goat.
Wow.
I'll take
Thank you.
dudes.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. We got a nice little day planned. We're
Why
going
don't
to
you
do
catch
some
that
stuff
gopher
in
for her?
Malibu.
Yeah.
You know,
What?
she's probably thinking,
A-
hey,
a-
honey, doing stuff in Malibu is great and all, but why don't you catch that damn gopher for my anniversary?
She would like that for sure. We're doing. Guess what we're doing? This is so romantic, you guys.
You're going to eat sushi off of her body, and then she's going to do it to you?
Don't you dare talk about her like that.
What did I say that
mean,
you didn't like, so I can correct it next time?
Yeah. Just let him know what he said wrong.
I feel like, have I done sushi off someone before? I think I have.
Okay.
Is that weird?
So LA, bro.
Yeah.
Anyways,
snap.
we're gonna have champagne.
Well, let's
you.
eat
Thanks, Coach
sushi off
Logan.
Jake. That'd be disgusting.
Oh, I'm in.
You guys just ruined my whole story. But
Yeah,
it's not that big of a
champagne,
deal.
love.
Malibu.
Champagne and oysters on the beach. Watch the sunset.
Wow.
I mean,
Baby Jake, 9 months.
Throw up some rose petals.
imagine.
It's beautiful. Congrats on 8 years, Trevor.
Congrats on 8 years, Trevor.
So I'm having a great day. A great day so far. Can't wait to talk baseball. It is a little hot in the streets. I don't want to say it's hot in the streets. It's warming.
Okay.
Katie and I are celebrating our 12-day anniversary.
Congrats.
Thank you, Jake.
So catch
you,
that
Jake.
damn gopher.
Yeah.
I don't know what it
Driving
is,
us
man.
Nuts over here.
We got some good news to talk about. I'm excited about it. BBD, you're doing well?
I am, thank you.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Manfred tells teams to prepare for a 162-game season as scheduled. I'm going to put this in the news but not news category. That Manfred actually said it to the public is a step more than we had. It's still very much pending all the rest of the stuff. He's still leaving the wiggle room.
Of course he is.
Prepare. But he has to. I'm not trying. This isn't a bash Manfred's session right here. But obviously, a lot of stuff can happen. 3 days ago was the worst day in U.S. history of the pandemic. So I think that they will start on time. A lot of people inside of baseball that I've asked don't think they will. They have no other knowledge than I do. But I just think comparing it to, football just ended, college football just ended, basketball started again. Kind of talked about it already. But it is news that Manfred said this. I think they will start on time. I think it'll just be a weird starting point. I like my idea that you go like, they're not going to do this, but like you go 10% capacity in April, then you just go 25, 50.
Scale it up.
And when you get to October, like the first playoff game is 100%, and it's just, the energy is just, yeah, bow with the bow.
Bang to bang.
I mean, look, they have no choice but to say this and then execute, because we just saw football have a complete season. We have basketball in the midst of a complete season. NCAA, they had a shit show of a season, so I guess they could look at that.
Football kind of laughed in everyone's faces really hard.
What's that?
Football laughed in everyone's faces really hard. Like the linemen wearing masks on the bench is hilarious and just such like an FU to everyone. Like, oh yeah, we were just breathing on that other dude's face on the other team, and we're in the huddle together. That for the last 10 minutes, we were in a huddle together, breathing heavy, but sitting on the bench casually, we'll mask up for the public. Like, it's such like a
humans running into each other for 3 hours.
Like, fuck you to everyone. Like, this is one big joke. So I don't know if baseball wants to go that route. I think in a lot of ways they want to copy football, and that way I don't think they do.
I'm interested.
But they will.
Jimmy, you were kind of on this. I'm interested if Manfred has kind of realized that they don't have a ton of leverage, because like they literally played last year with the COVID conditions. So I wonder if he went around to the owners and he was like, guys, like we don't have a case, like upcoming CBA, we could get more nasty if we want, but we've got no ground to stand on. Like, hey, let's roll it out.
And they're like, hey, we want to wait till we can have fans in the stands. Whoa, we didn't do that last year.
If you want to get
the only thing. Yeah, that's what they want to say, but they can't say that.
Yeah.
Or if you want to get really twisted, they're just going to roll spring training as normal, wait for the first outbreak, and then they'll say, oh, my God, what's going on? We got to figure something out.
I don't think there's going to be fans a lot of spring training, which is a bummer.
Sad.
Although Florida and Arizona, if there's going to be 2 states that kind of allow.
Yeah, they don't care. And look, the vaccine is getting rolled out, you guys. We're so freaking close, man.
Did you hear that Citi Field is going to be a vaccine spot?
Needles and arms.
And they said even Yankees
My
fans are allowed
mom's
to go.
already vaccinated. Like, let's go.
BBD's dad's vaccinated.
He gets the second dose next week.
Didn't you say he grew a second wiener?
Ooh,
That
was
a
it
separate
big?
conversation.
He had that.
He's
Yeah,
proud
he
of
had
that one.
That was just from birth.
He had that.
I mean, you want to talk You want to talking vaccines? We can do that. This thing might cure cancer.
Here we go.
Sign me up.
I'll send you guys the article. It's incredible. Let's go. Vaccinate me. I want 6 different vaccinations right now. I'll take them all.
You probably have 6 already in you.
To cure
Smallpox, rabies.
That's my biggest one.
Tetanus.
6 new ones.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if any of the ones I said are vaccines. Moving on.
Huge.
That's exciting. The big news of the day got dropped on us last night. Liam Hendriks, the top reliever on the market. I think a lot of people would say that. I think some people may debate it, but I think it's fair to say he's a top guy in the market.
For this offseason.
On the market.
Yes.
To be signed. Signs with the White Sox, so that's exciting because it's another team that's going for it and doing good things. I kind of wish that was spread out a little and it wasn't just Padres, White Sox. Who's the third team? Mets, yeah. But I'll take it. The contract, and anyone that's listened to any of the shows that we've talked baseball on, I love intricate contracts, and I actually like this one a lot, so I'll try to explain it best I can real quick. It's really weird because there's 3 years guaranteed, and there's $54 million guaranteed, but in the first 3 years, he's going to make $39 million. That's guaranteed. 3 years, he's on the White Sox for $39 million. Now, after the 3rd year, he's going to get $15 million. It's either to not be a White Sox, and then they slow roll the payments so their AAV doesn't take a huge hit in that year. They just go like 5.55 for 3 years, I think it is. Or they say, you know what, Liam, we want you back. $15 million for this year. So it's $54 guaranteed million to him and 3 years. It's very interesting if they're like, we'd rather not take the hit on AAV and you'll see you later. And then he still gets paid out for 3 years. But what do you got on this, Jake? You made a video this morning on your Twitter account. You like it.
I'm on the Bird app, as people are calling it. I like it, Jim. You're a big set the market guy, and we have the top player at their position going, which I'm hoping sets off the relief market. Liam Hendriks was the best reliever in this year's relief pool, so now you could start checking boxes below this. Your Colomés, Brad Hands, whoever you want. Maybe we'll circle back on them in a little bit. The contract's really fun, and the White Sox basically took a play out of the NBA's playbook with that last year. The NBA has it where if you want to cut a guy, Knicks and Joakim Noah, how about that? Where you can spread out the remainder of the contract over a 3-year period. So, yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see by the time we get to the end of this Liam Hendriks contract what he looks like, because if you're going to give him the money anyways, do you want to keep him on the roster, or would freeing up $10 million that season or whatever it might be worthwhile to bring in a different player to the White Sox mix? So happy Liam gets paid. I think when everyone saw those numbers initially, it was kind of a little bit like, whoa, especially yesterday I was feeling pretty low. I was wondering if guys were going to get paid. I was wondering if the White Sox were done. This makes sense. The other phrase I said is what's all these advanced teams do? Tightening the margins, sharpening the margins. It's
kissing the margins.
It's I don't know. It's like a loser business phrase that the Astros use. You get better every step of the way. So they go from Colomé to Hendriks. Makes a lot of sense. Colomé, as Trevor always referenced, I mean, he was good last year, but you're playing with fire almost every appearance. So man, happy Hendriks gets paid. This is a real payday, man. I mean, 4 for 54. However you want to dice up the money. I mean, that's a real contract, especially for a reliever, when I don't think relievers are getting a lot of big paydays like this anymore.
Highest paid reliever by AAV, average annual value, should be salary, in baseball history.
Is that true with the 4th year? I don't know how.
I think if they don't pick up that 4th year, it will, because it retroactively is applied to the previous years of the contract, like spread evenly.
Because like Chapman makes more.
So I think if they don't pick that up, then every year.
I guess if
like
they don't pick up the 4th, then it adds up.
So it gets a little quirky.
Someone tweeted it.
Yeah, Trevor.
It's up there.
I love it. Look, I've known Liam since he was a young lad, a young Australian lad in the Twins organization. I saw him get DFA'd. I think someone even was writing me on Twitter. I was starting at shortstop during his first ever appearance in the big leagues. So we go way back, and he's worked for this. And yes, this is a awesome payday for him. I think up until this point, he's made around $12 million. So he's already going to surpass that his first year in this contract, 54 guaranteed. And really, when you look at the numbers, I mean, over the last 2 years, he's been one of the better relievers in all of baseball. And I don't, there's been some things. He changed his pitch repertoire. He stopped with a 2-seam, went with the 4-seam, up in the zone, which you see a lot of guys doing. And we watched him this postseason when he had that ballsy appearance against the Astros when he was pumping 98 on like back-to-back days.
49
I mean,
pitches.
the guy is all that. Like, that's who he is. He believes he's the best player on the field when he's out there. He's come out and said that. I know that is his mentality. Even when he wasn't the best player on the field, he thought it. And that's kind of what you have to do. But like I said, the last 2 years have been incredible. An all-star in 2019. And then last year, he got Cy Young and MVP votes. So it's a much bigger contract than I thought he was going to get. Trevor May got 2 years, 16 with the Mets, something around there. And this blew that out of the water. Have his stats been better than Trevor's the last couple of years? Yes. But to go this high, I mean, the White Sox wanted him, and they went out and got him. And I think it's great for both him and the White Sox. I was just looking at their bullpen, who's in it, and I didn't really recognize many names besides Crochet, the lefty, and him. Those are really the only guys I know.
It's not a ton of household names. Aaron Bummer should probably get on more baseball radars. He's pretty good. I think Marshall getting there. This team is now one of the favorites in the AL. You'd probably like one more bullpen arm. We'll see how the rest of the market sorts out. But yeah, man, and I don't know. The other funny kind of thought I had in my head, because Trev, you're right. There was almost this weird reliever free agent moment where it was like, okay, Trinan gets 2 for 17, May gets 2 for 15. You know, a lot of those guys are really well liked. The Hendriks story isn't normal per se, with how much he's been DFA'd and what he's doing now. And I think we haven't said this phrase in a while. Whenever you're telling your GM to go sign your player, sign LeMahieu, sign Springer, guess what? Your GM probably wants to sign them, but it goes back to the owner. And how about Reinsdorf, man? I think this kind of has the feel where we're getting away from kind of the traditional closers. It's supposed to be all hands on deck. Reinsdorf, he went out and he got his guy in La Russa. I think, you know, the GM said, hey, we need another arm in the bullpen. We want a closer. And Reinsdorf said, yeah, go pay that man. So good for baseball.
If you just look at this guy's stats, I got his Baseball Reference page up right now. Before 2019, Liam was very much so an average pitcher in the big leagues. So his velo increased. His strikeout per 9 went from right around, you know, you could say he probably averaged 9 strikeouts per 9. The last 2 years has been 13.1. That's a huge jump. He's limited homers. Down from averaging about 1 per 9 down to 0.5 per 9. Like, he's done everything better the last 2 years, and he's gotten paid because of it. Adjustments are the key in baseball, and he was able to do it at his age 30 season, man. So, like, you know, the guys that you might have given up on, like, all it takes is one thing for it to click, and then all of a sudden you're sitting on a 4-year 54, being called the best reliever, one of the best relievers in the game. So,
is he a spin rate guy?
I think he is. I know. I read an article about how he went and changed from throwing sinkers to throwing the 4-seamer a ton more.
Yeah, I mean, his graph. He was sinker was his most popular pitch. In 2016, it was basically like, you know, those were his number 2, fastball sinker. That was his repertoire, and then he just completely ditched the sinker in 17, and then that's when he took off, started taking off. So, definitely.
I mean, we all watched that game against the Astros and the gutsy ass performance, man. That was awesome. So,
his spin rate last season was 2,445.
Huge. Fastball or curveball?
Fastball.
Same pitch.
For his curveball, it was 2,250.
So that's I would say that's around league average, right?
Yeah, it's average. You want to be higher to 3,000.
Yeah, but when he throws cheese and he's got like a really short arm action. When you watch him pitch, you know, he's not a big guy, but he comes off the mound. He's got big freaking legs, and it looks like he hides the. I mean, I've faced him, not the last couple of years where he's changed, but he does hide the ball well. And if he's hiding that ball and he's throwing it at the letters, and it's a tough pitch to hit. He's figured that out, man.
He's in Jimmy's book, not in your book. The other thing, again, I'm sure there's probably advanced stats to look this up. We're going through all the things of pitching, spin rate, how hard you throw it, blah, blah, blah. He dots pitches pretty nasty. He's one of my favorite dotters. He can pick a spot and hit it. And we have some White Sox people in the chat also noting Hoyer and a couple other guys in the bullpen. And I'll take this as a friendly reminder. We haven't said this in a while. You guys know your team better than us. So if you've got some White Sox bullpen takes, come tweet at us. I know some Mets fans weren't happy about the way Poppy was talking about J.D. Davis's defense the other day. So you guys know your team better than us. We just talk. I make fart jokes. Trevor's hot. Jimmy, it depends on the day. He'll come at you. He'll make a joke. He's cute. Pretty eyes.
Liam's from Perth, Australia.
You have been to Australia.
Nah, Perth's like it's not an island, but it's kind of an island because it's like there's the whole Western Australia is the outback. So it's kind of like a bunch. It's like, you know,
he's the craziest.
He's like the Australians' crazy weirdos. Yeah. Like they grew up in Perth.
We used to have a ton of Australians in the Twins organization. Luke Hughes, another former A, and they were all from Perth.
Yeah,
little baseball community over there. And now Liam has got to be the highest earning Australian.
Ooh.
So me and Liam, only 2 people in this conversation that have played baseball in Australia.
I've been invited to go play in the Australian Baseball League.
Is Delman Young in the Patreon right now?
North Sydney Bears represent.
NSBs.
Del's there right now. He's in Australia, so.
Okay. All right. It's a great deal. What the effects that this has, Jake, Brad Hand, Rosenthal, Archie Bradley. Who else is out there right now that is like top of this list?
Well, a funny thing I did see some White Sox fans commenting was because when this contract came out, you got a little bit of the first time in a while for baseball that some people were like, that's a lot of money for a guy. And I saw some White Sox fans saying, so wait, we didn't want Brad Hand for 1 for 10? Because that is a lot less risk. That's a lot less risk for a guy who's had a better career. So, interesting scope. We don't normally go there on this show because get paid, get laid.
Ooh. Kirby Yates, Cahill,
Colomé, Rosenthal.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys out there. Speaking of the Brad Hand, if you will remember, the Indians DFA'd Brad Hand instead of paying him the $10 million, and they didn't trade for him. And it was like, well, that means Brad Hand's going to get less than $10 million because you could have got him for $10 million. Kind of pivots us into the Schwarber deal because the Cubs got rid of Schwarber and they could have got him for how much?
I think it was $8 million.
$8 million. The Cubs could have got Schwarber for $8 million. They didn't even DFA and trade him or try to trade him. They just straight up said, nah. So that would lead you to believe they think he's not worth $8 million and they don't think anyone else thinks he's worth $8 million. Wrong. Schwarber signs with the Nationals for $10 million. So it seems like the Cubs could have traded him and got a player in return in $8 million, unless the Nationals would rather pay $10 million, not lose a prospect.
It's exactly what it is, Jim.
But still, it's just weird.
It is weird, and we talk about prospects all the time. What are they worth? Prospect capital now is you know, worth a lot to these organizations. I get that you have to have your farm system and develop from within, but I am not on the prospect capital as much as these teams are. But it is interesting that, you know, I don't know if the number was $8 million, but he was going to be in arbitration where like the numbers, his comps were right around there. So it could have been higher, could have been lower. But I think that the Nationals are also seeing the market and saying there's not a lot of teams acting. The weird thing for them is the NL East is the best division in baseball right now. So now they're making some of these smaller moves. And does it put them over the top of the Mets and the Braves? Like, I don't know. They still have the three-headed monster. So they seem to think that they can compete and continue to do it. And we love that. We love that here.
Like a half important distinction to wipe like a little bit of the egg off the Cubs' face on it. He technically, Schwarber salary this year is only $7 million, and it's a $3 million buyout for year 2. It's $11 million.
That's way different.
So he gets $10 million guaranteed.
I'll put an egg on their face. They've been trading.
It wipes a little egg.
They've been trading for 18-year-olds all offseason. Go get one 18-year-old from the Nats and see if it happens. Fun for the Nats, man. I mean, if you're a Nats fan, you talk yourself into my favorite Scott Van Pelt phrase, how good is your good? If you get Josh Bell's best, if you get Schwarber's best, Trey Turner, I mean, that top 4 of the lineup is nasty. Or, hey, flip a coin with Bell and Schwarber. If you get one good year out of all of them, you got a lineup starting. So
I like it. I mean, Soto needed protection so bad after Rendon was gone. And, you know, Schwarber's going to play left field now.
That's what they have him listed as.
Because I think he's much better in left field. Does that mean Soto's going to move to right?
Soto's going to play right. I'll look it up because I know we got the sticklers watching us now. I mean, there's no reason to think he can't play right field. I want to get the numbers on it. He's played only 6 games there, so yeah.
And neither of those guys are amazing defensively. So is Robles just going to track every ball down?
And I think Robles does have good defensive numbers, putting him in a tight spot. And I don't know. Again, this is where the defensive metrics.
Some Cubs fans say Schwarber's not as bad as.
We've watched some Schwarber. I forget if it was in the office one day or whatever it is. If a play is to be made, he makes it.
He's got a great arm.
He can catch it. He has a good arm. He's obviously not athletic, and I think when you start going into, you know, the advanced defensive metrics, he's not covering ground. So it's one of those. Yes, he's not gonna grade out well. It's not. If there's a fly ball to left, it's not hold your breath time. I think you can say that.
He's done a lot of work to make himself like not a disaster.
Better, yeah. So again, in the realm of defensive left fielders, you're going to find a lot better than Kyle Schwarber. But they're trying to get 40 homers out of that bat, and it's not crazy because he hit 38 in 2019, if that stat's right. Trying to remember off the top of my head. Said it in the office confidently this morning. BBD's nodding yes. Bang. I want them to get Real Muto. When you talk about competing in the NL East, I think the two teams it's going to come down to are the Phillies and the Nats. Their lineup...
Dissing the Mets?
And the Braves?
They got forgetting Real Muto.
Oh, okay.
Forgetting Real Muto.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
Yeah, sorry. I was like,
because
wow.
they like some of the guys in their lineup. They like Turner, Soto, Bell, Schwarber. Obviously, don't need to go there. They love Robles. Carter Kieboom is supposed to take over a third. Big prospect for them.
Kaboom!
And they have Luis Garcia, too, who's 20 years old, top prospect in their organization. He got some run along with Starlin Castro, so you kind of have the pieces there. The one guy, Yan Gomes is supposed to be their starting catcher this year, and, Yan's solid, but he doesn't move the needle. Give me Real Muto on that team because, like Jimmy started off with, it's the three-headed monster. If Scherzer, Corbin, and Strasburg, if those guys shove, yes, the Nats are a really good team. If those guys are getting hurt, then they're kind of weak. So, interested to see what they do.
What a division, though. Seriously.
Oh, my God.
The rest of the divisions are, one team's good, very top heavy, and now we look at the NL East, and all 5 teams are good. The Marlins made the playoffs last year. They got a bunch of young, good pitching. The Phillies are the worst team, and I still believe in the Phillies. Maybe I'm crazy, but
one of the Mets.
The Phillies are your worst team. That's good.
One of the Mets, Phillies, Braves, and Nats is going to finish either 4th or 5th place in their division. That's going to be a lot of money down the tubes.
I didn't ask this. I asked how Hendriks affected the reliever market, Trev. Are Twins fans watching the White Sox, and have they had a reaction yet? Are Twins fans, last year the Twins were by and large the best team in that division, and I think easily, and they won. They may not be anymore, and I don't know. What do you think? How do you think the Twins are feeling watching this unfold? They still have a great team, but
yeah, I follow some of the beat writers and the bloggers that really are in depth with the Twins, and they're a little shook, and they should be. I think the Zips projections already have the White Sox outperforming the Twins. And the Twins have lost some people. They haven't brought Nelson Cruz back yet. I assume that's inevitable, but who knows? Maybe he goes somewhere else. And I think if that happens, I don't think anyone's catching the White Sox. I think the Twins need to make some moves. There's still a ton of guys out there. Time is running out. But as we stand right now, I think that there's no doubt that the White Sox are the favorite in the Central and could be the favorite in the American League. Who's the other team that you would say on paper matches up better than or with the White Sox that can play with them?
It's Yankees and Rays.
I'm off on the Rays right now.
But the Rays are going to Ray
last year. I don't know.
Rays are going to Ray.
As it stands, the Yankees shouldn't really be making a lot of lists. Offense is great when
I don't
healthy.
know if the Yankees are top.
Literally, until the Yankees finish the offseason and we see where they finish, they currently don't have a rotation that a single person is scared of.
Who are the good AL teams right now? It seems like the NL has all the good teams. The Dodgers, the Padres, the Braves, the Mets. We can go on and on, but the AL, you're looking at
A's, White Sox, Twins, Rays, Yankees. Houston are still there, but I get what you're saying. They all,
White Sox are like the only good team interested in spending real money to improve the roster right now.
Yeah, they got Lance Lynn earlier this offseason. You forget about that. Their rotation's pretty nice. They've got the bonus young guys that could be really good. Kopech went missing last year. He took himself out of the season. He didn't go missing. We found him.
I think he was on milk cartons and stuff. It was a whole big thing.
Google him. He's got some life stuff going on. Trev, I like what you said. if you could assume Nelson Cruz is going back, which isn't locked up, but it makes a lot of sense. That lineup is still disgusting. I mean, you put Kirilloff in Rosario's spot, and I mean, again, they've got some young guys. Does Jeffers and Garver at catcher's a pretty nice situation? Is Brent Rooker something real? How about this Twins deep dive getting me hard? I'd like to see them do something else, Trev. I mean, make a splash. Maeda, Berrios, Pineda, Dobnak, Smeltzer right now. Bring Odo back, you know?
It'll be interesting to see what they do. And speaking of, you said they got you hard. The only team that gives, Boner City in the AL, if you look at their roster, is the White Sox. I'm not excited about anybody's roster in the AL besides the White Sox right now. Now, do I have my Twins, feelings? Like, yeah, a little bit, but they got rid of my guy Rosie. They need Nelson back big time, and they need another pitcher. They need another pitcher. They lost Trevor May out of the bullpen. Like, let's go fill some of these spots, and then we can talk about, the Twins being, towards the top of the AL again. But right now, it really seems like the White Sox and everybody else.
Well,
which is good for them. That happened so quick. Are you kidding me? What, 2 years? And
well, they've been rebuilding for a while. It just, it took some of the prospects and some of the people to get there, because you're not going to go get all the free agents to supplement the homegrown talent until the homegrown talent actually blossoms. And it took a couple years afterwards. So it has been on a slow path, but it now that they blossomed and they're filling it with talent, it does feel quick. I get that as well.
And man, remember how hard they went for Machado, and Kenny Williams gave that press conference and he's like, we had the best offer. And then
same with Corbin, right?
Machado was kind of like, not really. And yeah, I mean, hey, that Machado money, did that turn into Yasmani Grandal, Adam Eaton, Lance Lynn, Liam Hendriks? It's how you divvy up the money. I understand what you guys are saying on paper, and hey, maybe this is just pure Yankees bias coming out, and I do expect them to do some follow-up moves, but the Yankees have also won, in 2019 they won 100-something games. They were still good last year.
Yeah, but right now they don't have any pitching. It's Garrett Cole, and then no one else that any fan of any other team would be like, ooh.
If, Domingo Germán can be that guy with, one good start, like the last time we saw
so could
Major League
Sevy,
Baseball.
but it's super question marks.
Yeah, no, it's true. But
they need, at least 3 guys to go the right way.
Yeah, expecting, bragging about Savvy would be like a team bragging about Kluber right now. He hasn't been healthy nor pitched well for 2 years.
Some age stuff different there.
Injuries all the same. 2 different arm injuries and has whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar enough. I don't think you can brag about anyone besides Colt right now in the Yankee staff.
Brag, yes.
Yeah. Speaking of shitty stuff, MLB loses 2 guys that want to come to the U.S. to play in the highest tier baseball league there is. Sugano from Japan, and what's the other guy from, was it China, Taipei, or Korea? Do you know what I'm talking about?
In the notes, we lost it.
There's another player that tried to came over. Well, came over, saw what U.S. teams had to offer, and went back to Japan I'm blanking on this guy's name, Korea or China, Taipei, I forget, Taiwan. Which isn't a good look, Trev. I know that when we had, was it Kyler who was choosing between baseball and football. It was a very easy decision for him to choose football because he gets paid right away and can play right away. And that's kind of not the best look for baseball. You want to be a place that entices big-time talent to choose you over other places. That's a different sport. Now MLB's can't even do it with other leagues. So it just sucks to, he's been the best in Japan for 5 years. He wants to come over, Trev, and no one will even give him any shot. So he's going to go get the same money to play in Japan. It's just, I understand what you're going to say, Trev, that maybe he's not good enough to come over, but he was good enough to come over and at least get a shot. And if the MLB isn't the top destination anymore because they won't pay anyone, that's a really bad look. Is Tanaka just going to turn and go back? He's 32 and in the top 5 free agent pitchers available this year, and you're just going to lose him to Japan because no one's paying any money? It's a bad look.
I get the Kyler situation that's so much different because, he's from America, and he got to choose between two professional sports leagues. I think he made the right decision because nobody wants to play in the minor leagues. It sucks. And he would have had to, and it's very hard to be a hitter. You have to go if you want to be a hitter and make it to the big leagues. The guys coming from Japan and Taiwan, it's a little bit different. So I just think teams, they don't value them as much as a team in Japan values him. He's been the best pitcher in the league in Japan for a while. He's not going to be the best pitcher in the league in the U.S. And they're just weighing like what's in it for us. I mean, we're going to sign this guy, and not only do we have to sign and pay money, we have to provide an interpreter, and there's a lot of things that go along with signing an international free agent like that. And I think from what I've read, there was offers, but just not as much as he was going to get back in Japan. And good for him. He played the system right.
Good for him.
I'll see what they have to offer. But if I don't have to leave my country and I can be comfortable, I can dominate this league here and make more money, of course I'm going to stay.
Yeah, and Trev, I mean, there's something to be said there about comfort level and, all right, I'll run it back. But there's also something to be said, I'm sure Sugano's a pretty competitive cat if he's that good at baseball, that, he wanted to see it in Major League Baseball. And the rumors I heard, which, again, Jakey deep cuts in baseball, was that he basically got offered the same contract. So it was baseball saying, well, you could play here or there, same thing, kind of doing a little chicken dance with him.
Well, then he didn't want it. Because guess who wanted it? Ohtani wanted it because he took a big pay cut to come to the U.S. He could have waited one more year and signed for a bunch more money. But he wanted it.
But that was
Don't tell me this guy wanted to come over and got offered the same thing and then didn't come over. He didn't want it.
That was also kind of dumb on his end, Trev. Because
it was.
Kikuchi.
But I'm just saying he wanted to come over.
Kikuchi, who's got one. Speaking of weird contracts, Jimmy loves Kikuchi. But I think it basically broke down to 3 for 48 baseline. So Sugano, who basically had a better reputation than Kikuchi, went from Kikuchi got 3 for 48 with a bunch of stuff attached to it, to Sugano allegedly getting rumored around 4 for 40. So good for him for standing on his laurels and trying to get chicken.
That?
Trev, that's a rumor. I can't confirm that, but it's...
How about this, Trev? I know from a skill standpoint you have somewhat of a point. If baseball wants to become international and grow the game, and they want to go play games in London to get new fan bases, all the other leagues, when someone's clearly, how we talk about there's guys that are better than MLB level, like, Clemens, Pedro in their prime, Griffey, Bonds, Trout, if they could age out of MLB to a superstar, then they would age out. Well, all these other leagues, Japan, Taiwan, Korea, wherever, if a guy's aging out of that league, he should be given the chance to play in the U.S. and MLB, because then what? You're going to have fucking hundreds of thousands of Japanese fans watching this guy's games. There's no better way to grow the game than taking the best talent from around the world and at least letting them sink or swim. So I understand in a normal time period, I think any time period besides the last 4 years, he gets a better money to come play in the U.S. because the league is worth more money and more profitable. So I just think it's like if you want to grow the game, if you want to become international, not being able to afford foreign talent because you're currently being cheaper than leagues that make less money than you, that's a bad look.
I think individually, the owners don't care about growing the game. Like, they want to maximize their profit and win here. They don't want to overpay. If the league was offering to say, was saying, hey, if you sign an international free agent, we'll pay for half of it to grow the game, then yeah, that's a different story. But these individual owners, that's not their first, priority. But speaking of this, you're talking about leveling up, getting out of the league. And this has been talked about for a long time, and we call this the World Series. Is it really the World Series? No, because it's American and Canadian franchises, or one Canadian franchise. But how cool would that be if the winner of the JBL? What's the Japanese league?
KBO.
I'm such a baseball snob. That's Korean. NPB versus MLB, champion versus champion. That's a World Series. That would be awesome. We kind of get that with the World Cup. I love the World Cup. When is that coming back? Are we
PBD is my World Cup guy.
World Baseball Classic is
Baseball
what I'm
Classic.
talking about.
Oh, we're talking footy. It's ready to talk Pulisic.
But that's an interesting idea to grow the game. They would never do that because once you're done winning the World Series in America, you're just done. But it'll be fun to do that.
Trev, here's what I'll say. This guy, his best case scenario was Tanaka. We've talked a lot of Tanaka on this show. You know, he had a real if he comes back, Tanaka was a really solid MLB pitcher. You know, and then everything below that is the risk you run. You know, Kikuchi's been knocked around pretty badly. Had a good FIP last year for all my FIPers out there. So we'll see if he turns it around. But Trev, we're going to be here in June, and we'll be talking about the Angels. We'll be talking about Texas Rangers. We'll be talking about a myriad of teams and saying, like, they could use a starting pitcher. And like that guy could have been him. And that's, I think, what Jimmy said about the international thing and growing the game. I think all the money stuff involved. I mean, this guy, we should be talking about this guy pitching for the Toronto Blue Jays and be like, hey, could be good, could stink. Let's see it. And the other guy was Sung Bum Na, which, hey.
Some bum?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough.
That's a tough translation.
Guy couldn't play in any town near New York. So
Some
maybe
bum?
Sung Bum.
That's Gary Sanchez's nickname in New York City.
Yeah.
I got some bum behind the plate.
If you're telling me this guy got offered the same to play in Japan or MLB, that's on him then, dude. Like I said, he didn't really.
No, that's because I understand you're a baseball snob, but if that's the way if you want ownership to be like, well, you want to play for the best, you got to take a pay cut. Like, you want to get these people over and to play for them. I mean, this dude is going to
pay cut. It's not a pay cut.
Same pay, whatever. He's going to move his entire family. He's not going to be
MLB team. That's what I'm trying to say. It's the same reason DJ's not getting anything.
Trevor, what
He's worth more to the Yankees? Sugano is worth more to a Japanese franchise than he is to an MLB
Trevor,
franchise.
what if I told you could get the same contract you got with Jomboy Media, but you'll be with the number one TV station in Japan? They're huge. They get billions of eyes on them every day.
What?
But then you have to move your family to Japan. You have to go to a new country. Like, kind of screw that.
I get it. I'm just saying, let's not talk about this guy having this fiery competitive side, wanting to come see if he's the best of the best, because he clearly doesn't have that. Like, if he wanted to do that, he would have came over.
He could have that and be a good businessman as well.
Yeah, I think if you're going to come to the country that's still suffering deaths from the pandemic,
that could have had a lot to do
with the family, you want a little bit of a pay raise.
I remember at one point reading some report that he was very concerned about coming to America with how much different it's been handled here than in Japan.
That's 100%.
So to not
I respect
take a pay
that.
raise to come over, do the risk.
I respect that.
Well, I just think it's kind of a bad look for baseball. That they won't pay anyone, and like if Tanaka goes back, it's like, well, you're really isolating the game. You know what I always find interesting? I've talked to you about this before. You know, if a Japanese pitcher comes over and pitches for an American team, a lot of the Japanese market is going to watch and cheer for him, you know? I guess, hold on, I might have answered my own question, because baseball is one of the most popular sports in Japan. I was thinking, like, if there's, like, a U.S. guy on some Australian professional cricket team, the U.S. doesn't, like, go cheer him on. But I guess cricket's not popular in the U.S., so I don't know. It would be... Is there any U.S. players?
A soccer player.
Are there U.S. players in
Pulisic?
He's in the Premier League?
Yeah.
And American audiences follow him and like him?
I mean, kind of. It's kind of weird because if you're an American that's into the EPL, you probably have a team, so you're still locked into the team. But I think
that's
you
our
root
fourth.
For him.
That's our fourth sport. You know, it's not like it's our top sport.
I would say fifth even.
Fifth, yeah.
Drinking, partying, football, baseball. And again, Trev, on the baseball front, me and Jimmy just coming at you because you think these guys stink. No, I mean, you're flipping it. We are talking spending money and kind of flipping a coin with these guys because, you know, I was looking at Bum Na's numbers before, and obviously they look good, but he's got a decent amount of strikeouts. So if that guy can't handle fastballs over 94, you're talking. You just signed a guy with a batting average that starts with a 1 potentially. So I get the risk. At the same time, I mean, Kwang Hyun Kim for St. Louis, who came over, he's got some funk going on, and we'll see how the rest of his career comes out. But I mean, that dude has dropped dick for St. Louis, and his numbers from the KBO are worse than Sugano's. And you just want as much good talent in Major League Baseball.
I agree.
Some bum.
It's tough.
Is that really?
And the
Aaron
thing is,
Bummer?
I mean,
Yeah.
the best talent is in the MLB, dude. We have global talent. It comes. I mean, of any sport, it's by far the most globally inclusive.
Did you see that?
Basketball's getting there.
MLB Instagram posted the quantity of players from each country the other day. It was kind of a cool post.
I did not.
The Dominican just crushing it, dude.
But it's also, I mean, the USA obviously is still crazy number 1. And when you talk about being inclusive, I mean, I think more rosters could be filled out with international guys, but it's also just easier with the USA guys. So you wonder if there's something they can do there.
Yeah, but dude, that's MLB. If you look at
Got it.
just organization wide,
USA,
is
943 players. DR, 137. Venezuela in third place.
Yeah.
Venezuela, third place with 100. Cuba, 29. What a come up.
Well, and Trev, this is the perfect point because you talk about your all-Cuban team. Like, to come to Cuba and come to the MLB, you're thinking you're going to be a pro. You're not going to be the 12th man utility guy, which there's probably a bunch of guys in Cuba that could do that if they wanted.
Trev, more Colombians or Canadians in MLB?
There's not a ton of Colombians. I would say they're right on par with each other.
Wow!
Tried to trick you, and you bet on green.
You got it.
They're tied.
Same amount?
11 up.
That was impressive.
Trevor Plouffe.
That's more Canadians than I thought were in the league.
Wow.
I thought there was only like 7.
It's a hell of a job by
you. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I know baseball. I'm the best there is of this. Come on, guys.
Bud over there?
I say that all the time.
All right. What about China and Honduras?
China has 1. I don't know about Honduras.
Also 1.
Okay. Come on.
Germany has 1. Look,
Who's the one Chinese player?
I don't even know.
You just knew there was one?
The one
I knew there was
Chinese
one.
player.
Yeah, I don't know who it is and what his name is. But it's not.
This is slippery
MLB is
slope.
international in its players. It's not international in its popularity necessarily. Where basketball is international in its popularity, soccer is international in its popularity. Baseball is still working to get there. I think there's a few places. You go to Japan, you go down to South America. Obviously, it's very popular, but Europe doesn't care at all about baseball. So they're still working on that.
They're working hard. I'm trying to figure out who Chin-Ming Wang.
Lin.
Who?
Sue Lin.
Oh, okay. Where's he from?
Red Sox stunner. Oh, it says he's from Taiwan. BBD.
Well, but
I was gonna say, yeah,
but
he's not.
no,
I Googled.
it's
baseball player from
Taiwan.
China.
And then the other part of the island is like China Taipei, which technically is China, but it's technically not China. It's a whole thing. It's kind of like Northern Ireland is part of the UK, but it's
they've
not
got
Ireland.
Taiwan on here. It says 3 from Taiwan.
Because
So
China
it's not him,
Taipei
okay, I get it.
is Taiwan. I don't know.
Oh, I'm just
The Chinese
saying.
political situation is very confusing.
Oh, I love when BBD gets political
Let's
on
talk
me.
about China.
Let's deep dive into China. China.
Stop. I don't ever want to hear that.
All right.
Cadence.
I mean, the other news we have on here is that Tommy Lasorda passed away, one of the greater
Sad.
baseball lives out there. Got to witness the 2020 World Series, which Roberts said, he just wanted to see him win one. So that's awesome. I mean, you have any Tommy stories, Trev? Did you ever cross his path or any player cross his path that told you a funny story?
If you're a baseball player in LA, you have a Tommy Lasorda story. It's just kind of the person he was. Even if you didn't make it to the big leagues, just around the amateur circuit, your high school, colleges, scout ball, all that stuff. Like, he was always around, man. Like, I remember playing in a tournament in Orange County, And Tommy Lasorda's there, and it's he makes it a big deal when he shows up. He's Tommy Lasorda. Like he loves, garnering attention. So like I remember playing the game, all of a sudden Tommy Lasorda's watching the game, and there's no noise. So you just hear Tommy Lasorda telling stories while you're playing a baseball game. It was pretty cool. I've got to meet him a bunch. But any player in LA is going to have some sort of Tommy Lasorda story. So it's a sad day for LA. They lit all the important landmarks Dodger blue for him. He's synonymous with the way that Magic Johnson is synonymous with the Lakers. It's Dodgers, Tommy Lasorda. He's on par with Vin Scully, and when you think of that franchise, you think of Tommy Lasorda, and he has some hilarious moments in his career. I mean, everyone always remembers the Vlad Guerrero bat throw in the All-Star game where he put the chest protector on after getting hit. I mean, he seemed to be like a character.
You ever heard when he goes off on Kurt Bavacqua? Have you ever heard that soundbite?
Mm-mm.
So I'll just play it. It's a minute long. I'll play it for you. It's amazing audio. It's so the Dodgers beamed Lefebvre and Bavacqua, two hard names.
Yeah.
Bavacqua and Lefebvre of the Padres, and they kind of talked shit about Tommy in their post-game press conferences. So the next day they asked Lasorda about it.
Copyright.
So Bavacqua was quoted as saying, "The guy they should have fined was the guy who ordered the person to throw at Joe," and I think he calls him that fat man over there.
Tough.
It's not lying.
That fat little Italian.
Been there.
Is what he called him.
Live there.
This is what Tommy said.
Think about it. I think that is very, very bad for that man to make an accusation like that. That is terrible. I have never, ever, since I've managed, ever told a pitcher to throw at anybody, nor will I ever. And if I ever did, I certainly wouldn't make him throw at a fucking 130 hitter like Lefebvre or fucking Bavacqua, who couldn't hit water if he fell out of a fucking boat. And I guarantee you this, when I pitched, and I was going to pitch against a fucking team that had guys on it like Bavacqua, I sent a fucking limousine to get the cocksucker to make sure he was in the motherfucking lineup, because I kicked that cocksucker's ass any fucking day in a week. He's a fucking motherfucking big mouth, I'll tell you that.
Speaking the truth, baby.
It's all time, man. He's all time. The MLB Network, give them a shout out. They rolled it's a like 8-minute clip if you haven't watched it. I mean, some of the umpire stuff is hysterical. I was, and like, me and Jimmy grew up on Joe Torre, Italian-American manager, showed all the emotions out there. Tommy kind of did it in the other way. I mean, there was highs, there was anger, there was silliness, there was seriousness. I mean, the umpire quote where they showed a bunch of delay tactics he used to use to get his relievers more pitches. So he was asking the umpire what he thought he should do. So the umpire says, "I'd bring in the righty." And he goes, "Well, I'm bringing in the lefty." And I mean, it's just, it's grade A stuff all around. And the number that always gets me is when I hear, you hear someone's been in NFL for 40 years, or they've been in baseball for 50 years. They live, a baseball life. Tommy Lasorda, 71 years in the Dodgers organization. that's
crazy.
That's double our lives with even more.
How do you respond if you're Bavacqua? Actually, there's a video that says like Bavacqua's thoughts on his passing, so I'll watch that on my own time because I don't want to play another soundbite, but I don't know how long it is. But if I was pitching against him, I'd send a limousine to make sure he's in the box that night. This is great.
That's good.
It's really good.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
The other good, I forget who it was on MLB Network. I think it was the Dodgers owner or president, Stan Karsten, Trev. Am I getting that right? Something like that. They were like, yeah, the other thing was like, you knew a good Italian restaurant in the United States if it had a picture of Sinatra on the wall. I forget who the second was. It might have been Bill Clinton or someone, and it was like, and Tommy Lasorda.
Well, I was going to say Kennedy, but he's Irish. I think he's still beloved, whatever.
Yeah.
DiMaggio?
Yeah, Tommy was just a legendary LA figure, and like he's one of those guys. He walked anywhere in Los Angeles, anywhere, people are all over him. It's one of those guys, man. He really, like you said, 70-something years in the organization.
We should have hit up
Tough loss.
Matty Lowe. Didn't Matty Lowe watch a whole World Series game with him this year?
Yeah, in the suite. Yeah. It's funny. All right. Some ancillary stuff here at the end. Rusney Castollo signs with the Rakuten Golden Eagles, so
Good for him.
I guarantee half the people listening to this are like, I don't who.
Is there a documentary on him yet? King of Pawtucket.
50 years in Pawtucket.
There's some diehard Pawtucket fans that are like, I never thought he'd leave.
Yeah.
He was our
He
favorite.
couldn't.
I mean, if you're
He
Rusney,
wanted to get paid his money. He had to stay in Pawtucket, dude.
open up a bar.
He's making 50-something million or more. Was it 70?
It's a lot of money to play AAA.
Off the top of my head, I believe it was a $72 million contract.
I mean, I got to be honest with you.
It's good
Sounds
cheese,
easy.
Trav.
Sounds easy, but you go try to play in AAA in Pawtucket in the International League for that long. Jeez.
Okay.
Okay, you're right.
7 years, 72.5 mil.
Damn.
That ain't bad, man. That ain't bad.
You know what I'll say about Rusney
Okay.
is that he didn't pack it in. Like he still worked his
Yeah.
ass off, and he still was like there, like running balls out, playing good defense, like really playing the game. Where I've seen other guys, it's not too uncommon of a story of guys having to play in AAA to collect their paycheck, and they just cash it in, bro. I'd tell a story about Keigawa all the time. Keigawa used to serve meatballs up in AAA, and he didn't care. But Rusney wasn't that way, so you have to give credit to him for that.
Keigawa served meatballs up in the MLB as well.
Everywhere.
I think that was his only offering.
It's his main
I used to
dish.
send limos. 2 people I would send limos. 3 people. Keigawa, Phil Hughes, and Bruce Chen. They all got the limo treatment from me.
If anyone is really confused about Rusney Castollo, they gave him a contract for $70 million. They gave him a shot in the MLB right away. It didn't pan out. And then the next year, it was really bad. So they were like, well, shit, if this dude isn't going to be a major leaguer for us and we're going to have to pay him all this money, we need to take him off the 40-man so it doesn't hit the luxury tax. So they put him on waivers. No one claimed him because the amount of money attached to him was insane. So the Red Sox never brought him back, I don't believe, brought him back on the 40-man because that meant the money went towards the luxury tax and they were trying to reset it and get underneath it. So he was not on the 40-man. No other team would take him, and he had to just continue playing knowing he wasn't going to get called up because the Red Sox weren't going to take the luxury cap hit. So it's just tons of money. It's very weird.
Played 9 games in 2016. Hasn't played in the bigs since.
Just like a state of limbo. Like the money counted for the Red Sox, but also didn't count against their luxury cap, so it was kind of not real for them. But it was real. I don't know.
Had to pay him real dollars.
Yeah, I know, but everyone cares. So that's that. So now he's free and he's playing wherever he wants.
Trev, can I ask you a question? The Liam Hendriks contract, some pretty real money. That's some quiche. Do you think that affects the hitters market at all? Is that a weird way to look at it? Because
like if DJ's like, well, that dude got this, I better get
like that's
3
what I'm
times
thinking.
it.
I mean,
I think there's teams that are going to spend money and teams that aren't going to spend money. So if you're play a position that a team that's going to spend money is in need of, then you're saying, okay. But if these teams aren't going to spend money, they're not going to spend money regardless of your position. So we have so far the Padres, the White Sox, and the Royals are like the
Mets.
aggressive teams in free agency. Has anybody else signed anybody?
Los Mets.
The Mets. That's another, obviously, a big one I missed. Padres, White Sox, Mets, and then surprisingly, at number 4, the Royals. It's interesting, man. I think things will heat up because spring training, guess what, guys? It's like a month away. It's like 2 days over a month away before we're back in the RV covering the games. Are we doing that again?
Pandemic, probably not.
COVID, vaccine party.
The RV.
That's sad.
And the last bullet point here is that the Astros signed Ryne Stanek, the Pirate that used to be on the Rays, and the Rays traded him to the Marlins for Nick Anderson, which was a pretty good upgrade for them in the reliever department. So, the Rays used to have just all these Pirates out of their bullpen, and they kind of one by one been getting rid of them. So, goodbye to him.
I like Stanek. I played with him. Throws cheese. If he goes over to Houston and gets the good sticky stuff, who knows, man?
Who's the other Pirate? Wood. Hunter Wood.
Hunter Wood.
Stanek was like the original, the opener.
Yeah.
Yes. I think Sergio Romo technically is the first one ever.
Ooh.
And then Stanek became kind of the guy.
Hunter Wood is such a Pirate.
Like a real pirate?
Yes.
Like could be.
Yes.
Like a Somali pirate that's going
Give him
to
a quick.
No, not Somali. More, old school Caribbean.
Old school Caribbean.
I mean, let me see if I can.
I think it's a Caribbean when you're referring to pirates because that's what Disney says. Oh my gosh, he does look like a swashbuckler.
Yeah. They used to have Hunter Wood and Stanek come out of the bullpen. And I was like, who are these Pirates? Why are they doing this?
It's not a great look. I was just going to say that.
Stanek remembered as one of the early openers that the Rays used to throw out there a lot.
Weren't you part of the conversation?
I was here. I missed that.
Oh, yeah.
Literally
Trev
just said
said
that.
yeah.
I'm famous too.
Oh, that was full circle from Trev zoning me up before. I was looking up, and it turns out Daddy was right again. Trev, you made me think of Houston and giving them the good sticky icky, which I like a lot. Also, a guy who has massive splits if he gets rest. When he pitches back to back, he gets roughed up. So
Don't do it.
See how Houston deploys him.
Probably. Oh, does Trev have his hand up?
Before we have to talk about this before, and we can spend very little time on it. The article that came out, talking about the sticky stuff. Bubba Harkins suing the league, naming names, named a lot of names.
Yeah.
A lot of the prominent pitchers in the league. I've kind of got some inside sources and all that.
Wow.
If this does go to trial, which I really don't expect it to go to trial, I believe he's going to get some sort of payment and just say, sign the NDA and go away. But if this does go to trial, I have it on good authority that it's going to be a shit show and there's going to be a lot of names being named and specifics being named and text messages, screenshots, all that stuff is there.
It's not going to go to trial. MLB's just going to pay him.
What do you guys think about this, though? I think this is a huge story. Nobody else cares, and I don't understand.
Well, they attached Garrett Cole's name to it, so that gave it a lot of juice. Smart move by them. You need a superstar to head a cheating whatever solution. I do think it's very comparable. I think it's very comparable to corked bats. I made that comparison when we had Eno on to talk about it then, and then you made it in your tweet as well, Trev, and it's really weird. It's because hitters have said forever we don't care, and it's stop using the word pine tar. Someone tweeted at Trevor Power. So you're saying you didn't use pine tar. Very easy no for him in the semantics world because it's not technically pine tar. It's a new lotion or sticky stuff.
Substance.
So you just need to say, like, widen the net if you ask people and say, did you use a foreign substance or sticky stuff?
Well, and pine tar is illegal for pitchers.
But the narrative that no one cares about pine tar has been drawn and bought into and believed by the masses forever. So you need to get away from that word if you want people to start caring, and just you can't say pine tar. You need to say something else and then give them all the stats about how if you throw one pitch, one inning, it'll be this good. If you go put the new sticky substance on your fingers the very next inning without any changes, not working out, not changing, nothing, the same exact arm motion, it's better. I think then people will start to understand this might be a problem. It's going to be a hard route to get people to care about this because it's been driven into everyone's head that no one cares forever.
I tried to meme it. My meme was supposed to mean this is what hitters are okay with, and this is what they're not okay with. Pine tar's they shouldn't be using pine tar. Okay. Rosin, sunscreen, and sweat. Go put those 3 things together. It's very tacky and sticky. That's all you need for grip. Hitters do not care about that stuff. It's the specific formulated foreign illegal substances that takes your spin rate up 300 RPMs instantly. That's what people care about. But it's hard to like explain that. And it's not sexy when you talk about it that way. But it's a big deal.
Trev,
it's a big deal and nobody cares.
You just got to follow the MLB's solution problem. Let it run rampant and get out of control and hope something happens that takes care of itself.
We'll see a news dump. There'll be a settlement, and then
Trev,
like
That's how you treated the bumps on your balls.
Nothing's going to happen until it's day 1 of an MLB season and
no.
4
This is
umpires.
exactly when, Jake. January
umpires go
20th,
out.
you have the inauguration. Everyone's going to be talking about it. The MLB will come out and say, oh, yeah, we settled this lawsuit with Bubba Harkins. Signed an NDA.
I don't care about that. Well, I do care because Bubba got screwed. Take care of Bubba.
Bubba got screwed.
I'm saying the actual baseball substance solution isn't going to get cured until day 1 of an MLB season when 5 umpires go to the mound and say, your pitcher has to leave the game. He's using a substance. And MLB will never do that.
They could.
They could.
The umpires could just go do that shit on their own. If the umpires are feeling spiteful this year,
love it.
Never know.
I cannot wait for Inauguration Day news dump.
Yeah.
Oh, so many things are coming.
They're not giving out the MVP award that day?
White Sox are going to extend Cora. Well, that doesn't make sense. I meant the Red Sox. Cleveland announces their new name.
Oh.
And it's the Redskins.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it, but I didn't want to be the one that's.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, that's the episode. Thank you very much for joining us, guys. Liam Hendriks, blah, blah, blah. You already listened to it. I don't need to recap it. We all had a great time. Everyone was smiling ear to ear the entire hour. Thank you guys very much for joining. We will see you next Tuesday. And before that, we'll see you on Thursday. Hopefully we get some news. Smooth.